You are live now, ma'am. And you all are live, you can start your proceeding.
Just a moment, please. Just a moment. Yeah, shall we start? Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome, dear friends. We all are here for a very important webinar. It's called Project Archana by Wos. It's very important because we all know that the supreme sacrifice done by Dr. Archana should not go in vain. We are all here to know about the legal nuances, the social repercussions, and our responsibilities towards ourselves as well as that of our fraternity. So we have a few speakers who are going to tell us all about it. And let us all join in this important webinar so that we never have to see another Archana ever in the future again. So let us get going with the webinar, which has this special touch of both professional and personal touch. So Dr. Anjali, over to you.
Yes, with Dr. Madhu having set the tone for this wonderful evening, we move forward with this very special webinar, which has a personal as well as a professional touch. Personal, because this is Dr. Mohita's personal tribute to her colleague who took pains to settle down in a small village in Rajasthan and devoted her life to the people there. Unfortunately, she passed on, the circumstances. It's a beautiful way of paying tribute, personal tribute, and her name will always remain associated with this project. Because Dr. Mohita, in her calm, methodical, and very structured way, is going to put in place a series of steps so that such incidents are not repeated again. This webinar is very comprehensive and is structured in three levels. One is at the level of the individual practitioner. What can they do if they are faced with a tough situation? Then the group level. Group could be the hospital you're working in or your local IMA body. How can they come together and help you in a tough situation? And thirdly is at an organizational level, maybe AIOS or IMA. So it's going to be a very comprehensive webinar. And Dr. Mohita is going to start the thing and reassure us how we can look at help from others when we are faced with a tough situation. She needs no introduction in ophthalmic circles because she has been a brilliant surgeon and she has made so many positive waves in ophthalmology. But for those who are not acquainted with her and are from other fields, she's a successful private practitioner having her own eye center in Noida Tirupati Eye Center, apart from being the founder secretary of Women Ophthalmic Society of India. Doctors have traditionally been the ones providing moral support, confidence, courage to their patients, being a pillar for them. But now we are faced with circumstances where doctors at times themselves are very shaken. So in such circumstances, how do we offer reassurance to doctors? It is my great pleasure to invite Dr. Mohita to talk to us and give us a few words about this. How the person not feel alone?
Thank you so much, Dr. Anjali and Dr. Madhvi. So good evening, everybody. And today this is as already communicated, this is a very special project which Women Ophthalmologists Society has initiated, and we will be talking about it. And I will give you in brief about what are the activities which have been planned as a preliminary activities. And before even I tell you about these activities, I want to say one thing. This has nothing to do with women or men. It has nothing to do with ophthalmologists or any other specialties. It includes all men and women doctors. It includes all specialties of medicine, because as doctors, we all are one. We all work towards a common goal of serving our patients better. And so I will go through a brief overview of what has been planned for Project Archana. This is what we have been always hearing from our patients. We have always heard that medicine is a noble profession. And for many years, we are used to hearing a lot of compliments from our patients, and we are lucky to be hearing all these compliments. We do our normal duties, but it's almost every day we hear things like, doctor, you are next to God, or doctor, you brought back colors in my life, or doctor, you saved my life, I owe my life to you, or doctor, I become half better whenever I talk to you. So these are things which all of us have been hearing for many years, and we have been very happy doing our work. But in the recent few years, there have also been new challenges. We have seen dissatisfied patients, we have seen angry patients, we have seen violent patients, and sometimes we have seen mobs also. And most of us also understand that whenever there is a whenever there is a loss, which may be a loss of an organ, it may be loss of life, then it is expected that the relatives would be upset. And most of the times it may be just a cry for help or attention, and it is all understandable. And we respond in a very, very cool and calm manner, where we try to console our patients. But few situations are there where things turn serious, and these are the situations which we should know how to deal with. In our curriculum, we've never been taught, we were taught a lot of medicine, but we've never been taught how to deal with angry patients, how to deal with violent patients, how to deal with mobs, or even what are our rights. So the first activity of the project is dealing with the crisis. So there would be sessions starting from today, and we would invite a lot of experts who would tell us how to deal with the crisis, and which would include how to keep your cool, how to physically, mentally, and legally protect yourself. All these things are important, all the four: keeping your cool, physically protecting yourself, mentally protecting yourself, and legally protecting yourself. Each and every point needs to be understood by each of us. And for this, we would invite experts, and we would take their views as to how we can do it the best. The second activity of the project would be phone a friend. So even if we know how we have to respond to a particular situation, many a times we do not respond in that manner to that situation, because whenever there is a crisis, we suddenly become very upset and we don't know how to deal with it. Our mind will stop working, and that's when phone a friend becomes the most important thing. So we would be creating an emergency helpline, and this helpline would be there at every state level. And this helpline, whenever there is a crisis, you can immediately call up at the helpline, and you would be given advice as well as support. And the main purpose is that you feel strengthened, which is what we all need, because we all, in a situation of crisis, it is but obvious that any of us may become upset, and any of us may actually do what is not correct for either the patient or for us. So this emergency helpline is the second project activity. The third activity that we thought of was how to deal with police and media, because these are the two things that whenever we hear about these two words, police and media, these are the two things which become scary to all of us, that if anything goes wrong, and if police gets involved, the media gets involved, we are so much bothered about our reputation. We are so much bothered about what people are talking about us, because we have always tried to do our best that these two words become scary. So there are a lot of unanswered questions like, can a patient go to the police station? Can a FIR be filed? Can a doctor be arrested because of FIR? What are the legal rights of the doctors? These unanswered questions we will answer for you. And within this dealing with the police, we would want at every city, town level, education of the police from your area is your responsibility. And we would want that you should have police and media connection also, because we feel, and when you do these educational activities as to what the rights of a doctor are and what the responsibilities of the police are as per law, then this is going to connect you with the police also. And there's always a fear of the unknown. If we know somebody, then we are not scared of them. I just put this picture because this is just an informal visit to the police commissioner with some of my friends, because this is something, if you connect with them, you start feeling, the next instant you start feeling secure, and you would not go to something as scary as a suicide or etc. So just meeting the people is good. And you have to realize that that it's a part of your profession to have complications, and you can never avoid those complications. And you are in a very vulnerable position because you're dealing with the public. Your gates are open. You can't stop anybody from coming inside your clinic or hospital. You can't even stop an imposter who may say that he or she is a patient. You can't have bouncers to protect you. So you are like absolutely sitting in the public view, as well as you are absolutely vulnerable position. So you have to be connected to the police. And so we would encourage police department meetings in every city. We have already made a common format letter, which on a WOS letterhead, you can approach the police highest of officials, whichever you may be connected to, or even if you're not connected to, you can go there and you can invite all the SHOs of the police station and have a meeting there. It may be a tea meeting, lunch meeting, dinner meeting, anything that you feel comfortable or they feel they are okay with. And in that, we would suggest that you invite media too, because media is the one which spreads the correct message to the public. And if the public knows what the rights of the doctors are, then your problem is more than half solved. And we would suggest that you can invite doctors of other specialties too. They may or may not come, but then you have done your job, because when you held the police department meeting, then you did it for all the doctors, the whole fraternity in your area. So finally, final step in this project would be advocacy, where we would, from what we know of, health is still a state matter and not a central matter. Hence, the rules are different in different states. So it should come up it should become a central matter. There should be a common law governing everybody, and we should paste that law on our clinics so that it becomes like a deterrent value. And then, after doing this, we should march ahead with confidence, in professional pursuit, giving the best to our patients. And we should be totally fearless so that we do our best for our patients. So that's what Project Archana is all about. And thank you so much, everybody, for joining in. And we are sure we can make a difference by getting started and then modifying as and when we realize what needs to be done.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mohita. As usual, your talk, just like the logo, it's so reassuring. Take your steps in the right direction and we are all there for you. It's such a simple thing. You said, phone a friend. Yes, that would have, averted all that happened. Maybe if you could tide over that particular minute of crisis, things would have been much better. And also, we are all, knowingly or unknowingly, the word police and media, we get, there's a sudden tachycardia that we get, something is wrong. But yes, we need to be happy, and we need to be more courageous that they are there to help us rather than be scared of them. So yeah, we need to connect with them. It's a very nice way we're going to go forward in this. So now I think we are going to know more about our rights. Doctors, what are our legal rights? So we have Dr. Apurva Mittal from Jalandhar. She's working as a consultant at Tind Eye Hospital. So she's going to tell all about our legal rights, and we are waiting to hear from you, Dr. Apurva. Welcome, ma'am.
Good evening. I would like to thank Dr. Swati Tomar, Dr. Mohita Sharma and Wos for providing me this speak on the legal rights of doctors. I am not a legal advisor, but I have made this presentation with the help of an advisor. Before starting my presentation, I would like to pay homage to Dr. Archana Sharma and many more who have been let down by the society while performing their duties. Rights of a doctor can be studied under rights of a physician with regard to patient, right of a physician with regard to practice, rights as a citizen of India, rights of a woman under purview of law.
Dr. Apurva, your slides are not moving, Dr. Apurva.
Okay, it's not moving.
No.
Just a sec. Okay, now is it now, ma'am?
No, it's not. Could you go on the slideshow, please?
Yeah, and actually, I'll do it again.
Yeah.
You can stop sharing and then share again, maybe better.
Okay. New share, I think we have to do.
Yes, it's visible.
Okay.
Dr. Apurva?
Just a sec.
Yeah.
Am I audible now?
Yes, you're audible.
Okay. Is it okay now? Okay. So the rights of doctors can be studied under rights of a physician with regard to patient, right of a physician with regard to practice, and right as a citizen of India, and right of a woman under preview of law. Doctor's right while dealing with a patient, it is a right of a doctor to take an informed consent, verbal or written, before starting the treatment. It is a right of a doctor to obtain information about patient health, previous health record, and to ask questions and know about patient's lifestyle. It is a right of a doctor to communicate with insurance or co-managed care providers. It is a right of a doctor to refer the patient for advanced medical care or for treatment beyond his or her specialization. It is also a right of a doctor to stop treatment if he or she feels that there is an ethical or personal conflict with patient by giving prior notification. But it should be noted that a doctor cannot neglect patient once if the patient has been admitted under his care. It is a right of a doctor to practice as an individual or in association, or to choose an environment to provide best possible care in interest of their patients. In non-emergency situations, physicians have a right to choose whom they will serve, with whom they associate, and the environment in which they will provide care. But in case of emergency life-threatening situations, it is mandatory for a doctor to provide medical care to save life, else make a necessary arrangement if adequate skill or environment is not available with the doctor to give, as in the Article 21 of Constitution. It is a right of a doctor to prescribe medical decisions in best interest of patient and not based on cost, and not in the interest of employer, insurance company, or third parties. It is a right of a doctor to charge a fee at a fair market value and expect it to be reimbursed promptly. It is a right of a doctor to not comment on the treatment prescribed by other physicians. It is also a right of a doctor to inform authorities and police in case of notified diseases or MLC cases. The Indian Constitution has given some laws to for as a right of a physician to safeguard themselves against violence in their practices. In India, in some of the states, doctors have made some WhatsApp groups in association with police officers to make them aware if any untoward incidents occurs in their practice. They notify the police officers and they come to the place where this thing has happened and take charge of it. A doctor also enjoys rights as a citizen of India according to the Constitution of India, as in articles from 12 to 35. All the fundamental rights of citizen of India are also applicable to a doctor, as right of life, as in Article 21, which mandates to get emergency care in an effort to save self. Right to personal freedom. A doctor can also refuse non-emergency, non-threatening patient for consultation. Right to freedom of expression. In Article 19, doctor as a citizen can approach media to express their point of view. Right of freedom to secure justice. Article 32 to 35, doctor as a citizen can approach court to seek justice. Some additional rights have been given to a woman from the Constitution of India, as in Article 51A. It states that it shall be the duty of every native of India to renounce practices derogatory to the dignity of woman. Every woman has the right to live in dignity, free of fear, violence, and discrimination. IPC Section 354 provides punishment for offences leading to outrage woman modesty, like sexual harassment, assault with intent to disrobe her, voyeurism, and stalking. Every doctor performs his duty with honesty, but in some situations, doctors can be made culpable. Indian Medical Council has laid down certain duties and responsibilities of medical practitioners towards their patients, to the general public, towards each other, and to paramedical professionals. Violation of any provision of the regulation in a ground of action under professional will come under professional misconduct. Consequences of professional misconduct can be broadly categorized into three categories: criminal liability, civil liability, and disciplinary action. Criminal liability Criminal liability for medical negligence can be imposed on one of the two findings. The doctor was not possessed of the requisite skill which he professed to have possessed, or he did not exercise with reasonable competence in the given case the skill which he did possess. For imposing criminal liability, a very high degree of negligence is required to be proved. Prima facie evidence in the form of a credible opinion given by another competent doctor is needed to support the charge of rashness or negligence on the part of the accused doctor and to file an FIR against the negligent doctor. Criminal liability is imposed generally in cases of medical negligence as per the provision of Indian Penal Code Section 304A, death due to negligence, Section 337, causing hurt, Section 338, causing grievous hurt, are often applied to deal with cases of medical negligence. It should be noted that the prenatal sex determination, except for the purpose of diagnosing abnormalities and diseases, attracts an imprisonment up to 3 years. Simple lack of care by practitioner constitute a civil liability. An action seeking imposition of civil liabilities, that is monetary compensation, can be initiated by either the patient or his or her dependent before appropriate civil courts or consumer forums or lok adalats. The civil court, consumer court, and the criminal court usually refer cases of alleged medical negligence to the medical council to decide whether it is an act of negligence or not. If a medical practitioner is found guilty of professional misconduct by appropriate medical council, then the council can award punishment, which includes removal of name from the register of the medical practitioner permanently or for a specified time. If a case of negligence has been formed against a doctor, one should know what procedure an investigating officer will follow. So if a complaint reports to the investigating officer, FIR cannot be filed. A doctor accused of negligence should not be arrested in a routine manner. The investigating officer should, before proceeding against the doctor accused of rash or negligence act, should take an opinion from a doctor or a panel of doctors in government service qualified in that branch of medical practice, for who can be expected to give an impartial or unbiased opinion to the fact collected in the investigation. During the process of trial with counsel, if the investigating officer is satisfied that the doctor would not make himself available to face the prosecution or the purpose of futuring the investigation, or for collecting evidence, the doctor can be withheld. Upon receipt of a complaint of a professional misconduct, the appropriate medical council, which can be in a district hospital or in a medical college, will hold an inquiry. During the inquiry, the medical practitioner will be given an opportunity to be heard in person or by a pleader. A decision on the complaint has to be taken within 2 weeks from filing the complaint. If the state medical council fails to take a decision, then National Medical Commission can either force the state medical to take a decision in a time bound manner, or a National Medical Commission can take that case and give a decision upon that. Possible outcomes in case misconduct is established by the council. The council can pardon the practitioner, it can issue a warning to the practitioner, it can order the practitioner to apologize publicly, or it can award a compensation to the complainant. It can temporarily restrict the doctors from performing certain procedures or seeing certain type of patients, or it can temporarily suspend the license, or it can permanently suspend the license to practice. But in case counsel feels that the doctor is guilty, then he has to refer the matter to the police for inquiry under relevant IPC sections. But if a doctor feels that an injustice has been done against him, then he can re-appeal the National Medical Commission within 60 days from the date of receipt of the order passed by State Medical Council. In case doctor is found guilty of negligence by council, arrest can be made. But all constitutional provision under Article 22 has to be followed. Clause 1 of Article 22 states that no person who is arrested shall be detained in custody without having informed on the grounds for which the arrest has been done. And it's a right of the person to consult a legal practitioner of his choice. Clause 2 of Article 22 says that every person arrested and detained in custody shall be produced before the nearest magistrate within a period of 24 hours plus a time for journey from the place of arrest to the court of magistrate. The clause further declares that no such person shall be detained in custody beyond the said period without the authority of a magistrate. In case a lady doctor is arrested, the woman dignity is to be maintained as per Constitutional Law Article 51A. Arrest and search should be made with strict regard to decency by woman police officer. Medical examination should be carried out by a woman medical officer. If a lady, it should be noted that if a lady is arrested, she cannot be arrested after sunset or before sunrise, except for special permission of magistrate by a woman police officer. If a case is filed against a doctor, judicial protections are being provided to the doctors. In IPC section 88, it provides exemption for actions not intended to cause death done by consent in good faith for patient benefit. IPC section 92 provides exemption for acts done in good faith for patient benefit without consent, with provisions that a patient is not able to give a consent or no legal guardian is available to provide a consent. For example, a child faces an accident and a doctor is present, then doctor is supposed to give the treatment to the child to save his life, even if the child is not able to give a consent or in the absence of a guardian to provide a consent, the doctor will not be felt liable. In words from the Honorable Supreme Court, the Indian Penal Code has taken care to ensure that the people who act in good faith should not be punished. Section 88, 92 and 370 of Indian Penal Code give adequate protection to the professional and particularly medical professionals. It is our bounded duty and obligation of the civil society to ensure that the medical professionals are not unnecessarily harassed or humiliated, so that they can perform their professional duties without fear and apprehension. The medical practitioners at times also have to be saved from such a class of complaint who use criminal process as a tool for pressurizing the medical professional or hospitals, particularly private hospitals or clinics, for extracting uncalled for compensation. Such malicious proceedings deserve to be discarded against the medical practitioners. The medical professionals are entitled to get protected as long as they perform their duties with reasonable skill and competence and in the interest of patient. The interest and welfare of the patient has to be paramount for the medical professionals. Only if we are aware of our rights, we can fight against any injustice meted out on us. In the end, I would like to say for all the women that don't be oppressed. Know your rights and claim them, because whenever woman stands up for herself, she stands for all the women and society as a whole. Thank you.
Dr. Apurva,
Yes, ma'am.
how effortlessly you have moved from orbit and oculoplastics to legal rights. Very impressive. You have given us such a beautiful and comprehensive, thing of our legal rights. And
Yeah, I have tried my this thing best to give everything like in a nutshell, so that all of us be little bit aware about like our rights.
Indeed, you have made us very well aware. You have given us so many reassurances about the protections in the law. And I especially appreciate the fact that you're addressing WOS. You have seen the medical practitioner as a woman also. So, thoda extra protection over and above. You have made us really this thing. And I can tell you that when you do a job well, Dr. Apurva, apart from patients coming to you for oculoplastic, you will doctors sometimes for legal advice. Now that you've done such a good job, you have to be mentally prepared for that. Now going to, after this lovely talk, enlightening us, go to panelists, all the state heads. And I have this question for you.
Yeah.
Every state has cell hota hai, that IMA cell or a state medical cell. So I would like all our panelists, any of you can answer this question. Have you ever had to take legal help from the state cell? And also your views that you feel, we all have your own individual professional indemnity. Usme bhi lawyers hote hain. So do you feel that individual professional indemnity is enough, or do we need to involve the and if so, have any of you had experience with this? Any of our panelists? Any experience with this? Taking legal advice from
legal advice from the state IMA has not happened as yet, thankfully. But indemnity, I have a consumer protection case against me. I won't be discussing it because I think it's outside the purview or whatever. But yes, and it is difficult. They always want you to have an out of the court settlement. You need to understand this is an absolutely new ground for me, but I refuse to bow down because I said I've done no wrong. So I'm going to fight it out till be it going to the Supreme Court as well. So I thought that to go for an out of court settlement would be an admission of guilt, or saying that, okay, I want to get over with it. But I think this is something which was uncharted waters for me, and I had to go by my own understanding of the case and what the lawyer said, because it was very difficult to initially understand, because the hearings and all are delayed. So you don't know really which way this is turning out to be and which direction it's going to take ultimately. So we need a definite legal cell on whom you can trust, because only after a period of time you're able to find out whether the lawyer you have is competent enough or not, and the agency that is handling you the indemnity thing, whether they are seriously interested in you winning the case, or separating the wheat from the chaff. So do they really believe that they'll be, whether you understand whether you will be able to, they will be doing justice to your case. So it's difficult to
admire your spirit, Dr.
Yeah.
Ranjit. Spirit
Am
to
I?
whole project Archana is now behind you after this. So you have that. Aarti, please go ahead.
Yes, Dr. Aarti. Unmute yourself, Dr. Aarti.
All right. I said a very good forum and a very beautiful presentation by Dr. Mittal. In the question pertaining the indemnity, I think most of the time the lawyers through indemnity are really not helping us. So you really have to write a legal answer yourself. And I feel in this particular case, consumer protection is more of a civil case. But in this particular case, it was a criminal case. So I think dealing with a criminal case is very different from a civil case. For all other trivial cases of consumer protection, of course, our own lawyers, and I've had opportunity to write 2 legal letters, and I've kind of fought a little bit of that kind of a case and won. So in fact, we wanted to then go ahead and say that we can file a defamation. So if you really know your matter well and you write your own legal letters yourself, and have lawyers, but I think indemnity needs to be more strong, a platform. Through indemnity, lawyers are not going to be up to it to tell you a way forward, especially in a case like this where it is a criminal case. So my plea is to have a better forum in indemnity with lawyers who are really well reputed and can deal with both the kind
Who
of cases.
understand your the thing they're dealing with, understand the medical jargon, and understand.
I think also to the fact that they do all the hearings and all, because indemnity doesn't really provide you lawyers to that extent.
Yeah.
You do
Now,
it all by yourself.
How about the professional protection and welfare scheme by the IMA itself? They provide indemnity, right? They have a legal cell also, because anything goes wrong, they say first approach us, and then we have a group of legal experts who are going to, help you. Because it's there in every state. It's called, you have to renew it once in. They have a different scheme for nursing homes, for individual practitioners, for, hospitals and things like that. It's called Professional Protection and Welfare Scheme. Is Dr. Mittal aware of this? Are there any updates about that, Dr. Purva? Any idea about that?
I think a definite guideline would be much better, because you don't know where to start. You start on your own, or you approach the IMA. So you do it in a well-defined manner, then it will be better. And this, I think Project Archana will be the best way to guide us.
And it's a wonderful place for sharing inputs. All these inputs you're giving, people are ready to targets.
I think something right. Professional protection scheme is there in many of the states. Like in Kerala, it was there. And
we have it in Andhra Pradesh also.
One had to be a member of that and renew it annually.
Yes, we have the same Jharkhand also.
Yeah, we have to be a member of the IMA first, a life member, and then you have to renew it. It can be yearly or once in 5 years.
Yes.
I just want to point out that very rightly pointed out by Dr. Apurva about the NMC forming a committee, and then they submit their report, because I've gone through that. So I've gone through an ethics, and my matter came in court, but then the NMC took over, and that is when the ethics committee of the medical council comes in, and then you have to represent the case there. This is where it's very important that before you go to any police or any court proceedings, you have to go through your council and then through the NMC, and that is when they realize or whatever they decide, and then you can replead or you can take that case again. So I think it's very important that we go process wise and not jump directly to give an explanation to police or to the court. We can always approach the council first.
Most of us are not aware of this, it's important that this awareness should come in everyone, and we know about it.
That's you get aware when you are into the situation.
Absolutely.
I want to say something about the professional indemnity or insurance some companies are offering. So we got about few years back, we got in professional insurance regarding all the cases against us, but those company really don't help us, because they don't have very professional lawyers with them. So we had to change with some other insurance company, but we have changed almost 3 companies, but none of them are protecting the doctors as such, I tell you. So we have to look after ourselves, and we have to look after how best we can deal with the local police, because that has happened in our hospital. The patient filed a attempt to murder case, and the police filed it again, 302 or whatever is it, attempt to murder against the doctor. Your law doesn't say that you can file such a case against a doctor, but the police files it.
So
that's the worst part.
Dr. Apurva's talk has made it clear that
Yes.
the patient cannot go to the police and file an FIR, and we cannot get arrested.
But
And
people
even
are doing that.
So that is why we want to educate the police, because police is not aware of what they are supposed to do. That is one. And secondly, we
No,
have seen
they come under
We are
the
not aware
pressure
about
of the mob. They come under the pressure of the
So they
mob,
should not
and then
come.
they fight.
They should not come, and we should have
Yes,
written documents
yes.
saying, so that even if they come under the pressure of the mob, we should have a written document saying that it is this. And if we hold
Yes.
such training sessions, we become stronger in this, because we are connected with the higher ups also. So even if a local SHO comes under the pressure, we can
Basically,
pressurize.
learning to
We should be
stand
in
our
that
ground
position.
and knowing our rights.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
unless
We
you
don't
know
know
the
the
right,
rights. We
that's
don't know
right.
the rights. That's
We
why
know our rights and we
people are doing
stand our
that.
ground, and it's not that we allow somebody to arrest us because
Yes.
And I'd like to point out here two small incidents. I remember one patient came to me and somebody told me, since he was through that army panel, but from the polyclinic, they told me that this patient in another hospital had called up the police and complained just because they made him wait for 2 hours. So please be careful and see him fast. So imagine, for such a trivial reason, a patient would go and file a complaint against us for a waiting period of 2 hours. And I remember another patient last week, because we advised some investigation, and at that time somehow the machine didn't work, and he said, "You're trying to do a fraud, I'll call the police. Your machine is not working, and you advised me this, and you took money." So he didn't even give us a chance to say, "We are refunding your money." So if we are sure, okay, this is our right, we can very fearlessly say, "Please go ahead and go to the police if they are ready to take your complaint."
In our state, we've made a policy of informing in our common WhatsApp group all such nuisance makers by name. We identify them and we tell them that whoever is going to tackle nest, beware that this is a patient who's a nuisance maker. Please don't entertain. So we've we've done that in our society.
These are ways of protecting ourselves.
It has become very common on the social media. Every other day, if some person is waiting for 1 hour, he will write from our hospital only. This hospital is very bad. Waiting period is this, that. So
I have a suggestion here, like AIOS has made a family beneficial scheme like that. AIOS can make another body like this to save doctors also in these type of situation, in indemnity.
We need something at the local level as well before we reach the AIOS, because
we should connect with the local IMA. That is most important.
Local,
because it's not only your
local IMA is very important.
Local, not only ophthalmology, all other branches also.
Local IMA is very strong in Punjab. Local IMA is very strong in
time.
Punjab
Dr.
also.
Madhvi, please allow one person. We can raise our hands.
Yes.
Right? Because everybody is trying to speak.
Local IMAs are very strong in Punjab, and even sometime it is like that they will call the doctors to come, that all the IMA main officials will come before the declaration of death is done. They have to come and stand at the bedside, and then only the doctor announces that the patient is dead. So such type of activities are there. They are like quite strong IMA is there in Punjab, who is taking care of all these problems.
We can decide area wise wherever we feel that there is a support of IMA. At that time, there we can combine with IMA, and wherever we feel that support is not there, or they are not too coming forwards, Women Ophthalmology Society can do its activities and initiate, because that will work for the benefit of all. And ultimately, I feel that everybody will join in when they see the benefits.
Can I come? Yes, please. And with this last, we'll yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, so sometimes we are lucky if the patient goes to court, because sometimes they choose to take the action then and there. So we are lucky if the patient chooses to go to court. then we can think of approaching the IMA or the local bodies. So there are two concerns. One is on the spot reaction of the patient, and the subsequent thing is if the patient decides to sue you. And we are actually lucky if the patient decides to sue us instead of taking the action then and there. So the first instance is of more concern, because if you are documented well and you're sure you have not done any criminal negligence, if you have not done any negligence, then your records will speak for you at some time. So then IMA or your local fraternity or your IMA, they have stronger ground to support you even legally. So make your own documentation more sound, so that if the patient decides to sue you also, you might have done a mistake, but it's not a negligence. So you protect yourself medical legally yourself. Nobody can tackle your documents for you. So we take care of our own self by documenting well and taking care during patient care in the longer run. That is where your fraternity or your IMA can support you. But what about when the patient does everything before you can take this step? So that is of primary concern. It doesn't give you time. So the local body should come in.
Thank you, doctor. Thank all the panelists for this very lively discussion. And we will be picking your brains a little more. You won't get away with it. But before that, we would like to invite Dr. Madhu Gupta. She's a consultant from Rajasthan, and she's also an executive member of the Jaipur Medical Association. Dr. Madhu, we are waiting very keenly to hear your heartfelt words. Dr. Madhu?
Yeah, I'm very thankful to WS and especially Dr. Mohita and Dr. Swati Tobar for giving me this opportunity. मेरा वो नहीं आ रहा. I'm audible? Hello?
Yes, you're audible, Dr. Madhu.
Very clear.
Yeah. Yeah, today I'm going to speak about the crisis management in emergency. पहले मैं हमारे यहाँ जो डॉक्टर अर्चना शर्मा लालसोट में जो अभी ट्रेजेडी हुई है उनको श्रद्धांजलि देना चाहूंगी, क्योंकि ये बहुत ही ट्रेजिक था. इसी के कारण हमें ये जो प्रोजेक्ट अर्चना चालू करना पड़ा, तो हमें सबसे पहले उनको श्रद्धांजलि अर्पित करनी चाहिए. और इसके इसी ने हमारी आंखें खोली कि हम इसको कर सके. 135 years back, in one very reputed medical journal, it was written, no physician, however conscious or careful, can tell what day or hour he may not be the object of some undeserved attack, malicious accusation, blackmail, or suit for the damages. ये केवल हमारे ही देश में नहीं, हम ये सोचते हैं कि हमारे इंडिया में ही ऐसा होता है. इट कैन अकर एनीवेयर टू एनी पर्सन. हम चाहे कितने भी केयरफुल रहें, कितने भी कॉन्शियस रहें, लेकिन हमें नहीं पता कि कब कौन जना हमारे ऊपर कुछ भी किसी भी तरह का केस कर सकता है. Why this crisis happens? First of all, we have to pay attention to this. Most of the patients जो हमारे पास आते हैं वो बहुत ही ज्यादा एंजाइटी में और एप्रीहेंशन में होते हैं. ऑब्वियस है, कोई भी पेशेंट होगा तो वो बहुत परेशान होगा तभी हमारे यहाँ आएगा, और इसलिए वो इसी उसमें रहता है कि हम कैसे जल्दी से जल्दी ट्रीटमेंट ले सके और अपने परेशानी का हल पा सके. तो हमें उसकी एंजाइटी और एप्रीहेंशन को थोड़ा सा तवज्जो देनी चाहिए. उसके बाद हमें देखना पड़ता है कि हमारे यहाँ जो गवर्नमेंट हॉस्पिटल्स हैं या कॉर्पोरेट बड़े हॉस्पिटल्स हैं, वहां पर बहुत लंबे वेटिंग पीरियड्स होते हैं. तो वी हैव टू मैनेज दैट लॉन्ग वेटिंग पीरियड, उसको शॉर्टन करें. उसके लिए हमें जरूरी है कि कई सारे हमें उसके जो स्टेशंस होते हैं वो बनाने पड़ेंगे। उसके अलावा हमें जो स्टेशंस हैं, ओपीडी काउंटर्स हैं, उनमें भी अलग अलग तरह का देना पड़ेगा कि एक जैसे सीनियर सिटीजन का देना पड़े, उसके बाद इमरजेंसी जिनको है उनके लिए अलग हमें लाइन करनी चाहिए और नॉर्मल के लिए अलग लाइन करनी चाहिए। लेकिन जब हम देखते हैं ओपीडी के अंदर, क्योंकि मैं एक गवर्नमेंट सेटअप में हूँ, तो हमारे पास एक ही यदि लाइन होती है और उसमें हम देख रहे हैं कि कोई पेशेंट बहुत तड़प रहा है, बिना अपॉइंटमेंट आ गया है, तो भी हमें उसे अलग लाइन में लेके देखना चाहिए। लेकिन ऐसा भी नहीं है कि केवल हम उन्हीं को देखते रहें, तो इसमें ऐसा कुछ प्रोविजन करना चाहिए कि हम 4 नॉर्मल पेशेंट्स लें और एक फिर उसमें क्राइसिस वाला ले, फिर एक 4 ले, फिर वीआईपी ले। अभी हमने एक केस और देखा था जिसके अंदर वीआईपी पेशेंट के कारण से बड़ी प्रॉब्लम्स आई थी, तो उस तरह की चीजें भी हम लोगों को सेटल डाउन करनी पड़ती हैं। तो वी हैव टू टेक केयर ऑफ ऑल दीज थिंग्स। तीसरी पॉइंट होता है इसमें इनएडुकेट काउंसलिंग। इनएडुकेट काउंसलिंग हम बहुत कई बार जल्दी में होते हैं तो काउंसलिंग नहीं कर पाते ढंग से और पेशेंट को टाइम नहीं देते। टाइम ना देने के चक्कर में पेशेंट satisfied नहीं होता। So we have to satisfy our patients and counsel the patient for his जो भी उसकी बीमारी है उसके लिए प्रॉपर काउंसलिंग होनी चाहिए। कई बार हमारे पास होता है कि क्रूशियल इन्वेस्टिगेशंस होते हैं, नॉन अवेलेबिलिटी और क्रूशियल इन्वेस्टिगेशन, जैसे एबीजी है, कई बार हमारे पास अवेलेबल नहीं है और फिर भी हमको करना पड़ रहा है, तो उसके कारण से पेशेंट क्राइसिस हो जाती है और पेशेंट गुस्से में आ जाते हैं। और फिर अपन डिले इन रेफरल कंडीशंस, रेफरल हमें करना है तो हम उसे टाइमली क्यों ना करें। यदि हमारे पास किसी चीज की फैसिलिटी नहीं है तो हम उसको एक बार यदि हमने हमारे हॉस्पिटल में ले लिया और फिर भी हमें लग रहा है कि हम इस चीज को हैंडल नहीं कर सकते, तो मेरा सजेशन ये है कि उसको टाइमली हम रेफर करें और जब तक वो रेफर्ड पेशेंट अपने हॉस्पिटल से बाहर ना चला जाए तो उसको हमें फॉलो करना चाहिए। हमारे स्टाफ को हम बोल के रखें कि जब तक ये पेशेंट अपनी जगह पर जहां हमने उससे रेफर किया है वहां ना पहुंच जाए तब तक हम उसको फॉलो करें और उसका साथ दें, वरना ये भी चीज प्रॉब्लम क्रिएट कर सकती है। कई बार ये होता है हमारे अनहाइजीनिक एंड एक्सट्रीमली क्राउडेड कंडीशंस इन द इमरजेंसी एंड वार्ड्स होते हैं, उसके कारण से तो हम मोस्टली देखते हैं कि क्राइसिस हैपन होता है और जो अटेंडेंट्स होते हैं वो उसके लिए बहुत ज्यादा नाराज हो जाते हैं। मनी का मतलब यह है कि हमें जितने भी चार्जेस हैं वो सारे पूरी अच्छी तरह से एक्सप्लेन्ड होने चाहिए और हर जगह पर शोड होना चाहिए। एक प्रॉपर उसका मेंशन होना चाहिए कि इस प्रोसीजर का इतना पैसा है, इस प्रोसीजर का इतना पैसा है और हमें उसके लिए प्रॉपरली बता के रखना चाहिए। पहले पेशेंट को हम बता देंगे तो उसको प्रॉब्लम नहीं होगी कि हम क्या क्या करना, किस चीज का हम कैसा पैसा लेंगे। और फिर है अपने पास लैक ऑफ प्रॉपर डॉक्यूमेंटेशन। कोई भी प्रोसीजर हम कर रहे हैं, किसी भी चीज का कर रहे हैं तो उसका प्रॉपर डॉक्यूमेंटेशन होना चाहिए। यदि कोई पेशेंट हमने रेफर किया उसका प्रॉपर डॉक्यूमेंटेशन होना चाहिए। कोई कॉम्प्लिकेशन हो गया तो उसका डॉक्यूमेंटेशन हो जाना चाहिए। कोई भी डेथ हुई है तो उसका प्रॉपर डॉक्यूमेंटेशन होना चाहिए विथ ऑल द रिकॉर्ड्स इन इट। इस चीज में हमें बिल्कुल भी थोड़ा सा भी लापरवाही नहीं बरतनी चाहिए, क्योंकि प्रॉपर डॉक्यूमेंटेशन होगा तो हम कहीं भी फंसने की कंडीशन में नहीं रहेंगे। फिर मेरा ये मानना है कि हमें कुछ ना कुछ ग्रुप्स बनाने चाहिए। जैसा अभी अपनी टॉक में अपन ने पहले देखा, जो डिस्कशन हो रहा था उसके अंदर अपन ने देखा कि ग्रुप्स होने चाहिए। एसओएस ग्रुप्स होते हैं। एसओएस ग्रुप्स में हम 2-3 तरह के ग्रुप्स बना सकते हैं। एक एसओएस ग्रुप होता है हॉस्पिटल का, जो अपना हॉस्पिटल है उसके अंदर का ही एक ग्रुप होना चाहिए। तो उसके अंदर हम कोई भी क्राइसिस हो, कुछ भी हो, तो अपने हॉस्पिटल में सबसे पहले बताएं। जैसे उसके अंदर कोई वीआईपी पेशेंट आया है या कोई इमरजेंसी वाला पेशेंट आया है, तो हमें वहीं से पता, जो हमारा काउंटर है, स्टार्टिंग है, वहीं से हमें पता पड़ जाए कि ऐसा ऐसा कोई जना आ रहा है तो उसको किस तरह से टैकल किया जाए। दूसरा होता है एसओएस ग्रुप ऑफ फ्रेंड्स, मेडिकल फ्रेंड्स। जैसे अपन बेसिकली ऑफ्थैल की बात करें तो ऑफ्थैल डॉक्टर्स का एक ग्रुप होना चाहिए जिसके अंदर कोई भी यदि न्यूसेंस पेशेंट आता है तो उसके बारे में बता दें, या कोई भी अपन ने कुछ काम किया है उसके बारे में बताएं, या कुछ भी चीज जो चीज अपने यहाँ अवेलेबल नहीं है। कई बार होता है कि अपन किसी को पेशेंट को रेफर कर रहे हैं तो भी यदि हम उस SOS ग्रुप ऑफ ऑफ्थैल या मेडिकल ग्रुप में डाल दें तो वो चीज बहुत यूजफुल होती है। दूसरा होता है SOS ग्रुप ऑफ नॉन मेडिकल फ्रेंड्स। नॉन मेडिकल फ्रेंड्स भी इसके अंदर बहुत अच्छा रोल प्ले करते हैं। जैसे अभी हमारा ये अर्चना शर्मा वाला हुआ, यदि इसके अंदर भी हमें नॉन मेडिकल ग्रुप्स होते तो हम शायद इस चीज से बच सकते थे। वैसे भी हम देखें कि कोई भी अपना प्रॉब्लम होती है तो केवल ऑफ्थैल या मेडिकल ही नहीं, अलग अलग ग्रुप्स भी होने चाहिए, इंक्लूडिंग पुलिस वाले और भी जनरल पब्लिक हो उसके अंदर, और कुछ अच्छे अपने लोग हों वो होने चाहिए। और इसके अलावा मेरा ये दूसरा भी कहना है कि लोकल ग्रुप्स जो होते हैं उनमें हमारा एक्टिव पार्टिसिपेशन होना चाहिए। जैसे कोई भी लोकल फंक्शन है, हमारी कॉलोनी में ही लोकल फंक्शन है या हमारी सोसाइटी में कोई फंक्शन है, तो हम लोग को उसके अंदर पूरा इन्वॉल्वमेंट रखना चाहिए, क्योंकि हम यदि किसी का हेल्प करेंगे तभी जनरल पब्लिक हमको हेल्प कर पाएगी। इसलिए हमें उन लोकल ग्रुप्स में भी फुल इन्वॉल्वमेंट रखना चाहिए, चाहे कैसा भी हो, चाहे हमारे परिवार का ही कोई फंक्शन हो या हमारी सोसाइटी का भी फंक्शन हो या ग्रुप हो, उसमें हमारा एक्टिव पार्टिसिपेशन रहना चाहिए। दूसरा हमारा ये कहना है कि एक CLG ग्रुप होता है, ये होता है कम्युनिटी लाइजनिंग ग्रुप। इसके अंदर एक MLA होता है, जनरल पब्लिक होती है, वार्ड मेंबर्स होते हैं, आसपास के शॉपकीपर्स होते हैं, डॉक्टर्स होते हैं, लॉयर्स होते हैं और सीनियर सिटीजन्स होते हैं। इन सबका एक ग्रुप होना चाहिए जिससे कि यदि कोई भी इस तरह की प्रॉब्लम आती है तो उसमें हम डाल सकते हैं और वो हमें इस चीज में बहुत हेल्प करते हैं। आजकल गवर्नमेंट ने 20 कांस्टेबल्स दिए हैं हर एरिया में, तो इनका काम होता है कि अपने से सबसे लाइजनिंग बना के रखें, तो हमें इन सबके नंबर्स अपने पास सेव करके रखने चाहिए। एक ये बात है कि हमें जो हमारे हॉस्पिटल के नियर बाय वेंडर्स हैं, जैसे चाय वाला है, मेडिकल शॉप वाला है या कोई भी छोटे छोटे वेंडर्स भी होते हैं, उन सबको भी हमें कॉन्फिडेंस में रखना चाहिए, उनसे मिलते जुलता रहना चाहिए। कभी भी कोई छोटा सा प्रोग्राम करें अपन हॉस्पिटल्स में या कुछ भी करें तो हमें इन लोगों को इनवाइट करना चाहिए, क्योंकि जितनी भी कॉन्स्पिरेसीज होती है या कोई भी मीटिंग्स होती हैं वो नियर बाय चाय वाले की थड़ी पे ही होती है या आसपास कोई फ्रूट वाला बैठता है उसके यहाँ पर होती है। तो ये यदि हमारे कॉन्फिडेंस में रहेंगे तो हमारे फेवर में ही रहेंगे और हमें जो भी बात होगी बाहर की वो पता रहती रहेगी। एक सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट जो चीज है वो वी शुड स्टॉप क्रिटिसाइजिंग आवर फेलो डॉक्टर्स। हमारे पास कोई पेशेंट आता है, कोई ऑपरेटेड पेशेंट है, हम सबसे पहले उससे यही कहते हैं कि अरे भाई तेरा तो ऑपरेशन वो फला डॉक्टर साहब ने बिगाड़ दिया, अब मैं तुझे ठीक कर दूंगा, या उन्होंने तेरे साथ ये चीटिंग की है या ये चीटिंग की है। तो हमें इस चीज से बचना चाहिए। हमें सब डॉक्टर्स को इक्वल रिस्पेक्ट करना चाहिए, क्योंकि हम सब एक ही फैटर्निटी के लोग हैं। हम यदि किसी को क्रिटिसाइज करेंगे तो हमें भी क्रिटिसाइज ही मिलेगा, और यदि हमें ये पता है कि हम किसी को क्रिटिसाइज नहीं कर रहे हैं, हम सबके लिए अच्छा अच्छा बोल रहे हैं। अच्छा अच्छा बोलने का मतलब ये नहीं है कि बहुत अच्छा बोलना वाली बात है, लेकिन किसी को क्रिटिसाइज ना करें एटलीस्ट। अब हमें ये देखना है कि ये जो प्रॉब्लम्स हुई उनको अपन कैसे सॉल्व कर सकते हैं। एम्प्लॉयमेंट, हमें हमारे हॉस्पिटल में एडिक्वेट नंबर ऑफ डॉक्टर्स होने चाहिए। एम्प्लॉयमेंट उनका पूरा होना चाहिए ताकि स्टाफ पूरा रहेगा, डॉक्टर्स एंड स्टाफ पूरा रखना चाहिए, क्योंकि जहां भी डॉक्टर्स की और स्टाफ की कमी होती है वहां पर ये चीजें बहुत ज्यादा देखनी पड़ती हैं। और हमें हमारा हॉस्पिटल ग्लोबली टेक्नोलॉजी से अच्छी तरह रखना चाहिए। कंप्यूटर्स, इंटरनेट, जो भी लेटेस्ट टेक्नोलॉजीज हैं उनसे उसको रखना चाहिए पूरा। और जो हॉस्पिटल की सिक्योरिटी है वो स्ट्रेंथन रहनी चाहिए, और इसमें CCTVs, गार्ड्स और ये सब चीजें हमें देखनी चाहिए। और CCTVs जो हैं उनकी प्रॉपर मेंटेनेंस होनी चाहिए और वो इंटरलॉक्ड होने चाहिए नियर बाय पुलिस स्टेशन से। सबसे बड़ी बात है कि मेंटेनेंस प्रॉपर होनी चाहिए अपने CCTV कैमरास की। हमें यदा कदा देखते रहना चाहिए कि वेदर CCTVs आर वर्किंग प्रॉपरली और नॉट। कई बार उसे कोई स्टाफ टेढ़ा कर देता है, कभी उसके ऊपर कोई टेप लगा देता है, तो उन चीजों को हमें देखना चाहिए। हमें सिक्योरिटी गार्ड्स को बोलना होगा कि कोई भी आर्म्स एंड एम्युनिशंस बाय पेशेंट्स और रिलेटिव शुड नॉट बी अलाउड इनसाइड द हॉस्पिटल। एक पहले अपन ने बात की थी, एक ये है कि कैश काउंटर्स जो होते हैं वो हमें थोड़ा सा नीचे या हाइड करके रखने चाहिए। कभी भी बहुत ज्यादा कैश अपने कैश काउंटर में नहीं रखना चाहिए। और आजकल तो वैसे भी कैशलेस हो गया है, लेकिन फिर भी कैश ज्यादा नहीं होना चाहिए। रेट्स डिफरेंट इन्वेस्टिगेशंस के जो भी हमारे हॉस्पिटल के हैं वो सारे के सारे डिस्प्लेड होने चाहिए। एंड प्रॉपर कंप्लेंट रिड्रेसल सिस्टम इन द हॉस्पिटल होना चाहिए कि किसी भी जने को यदि कोई भी कंप्लेंट करनी है तो वो उसको प्रॉपर जगह होनी चाहिए कि वो कंप्लेंट कर सके, क्योंकि यदि हमारे पास कंप्लेंट्स आएंगी तो ही हम अपने हॉस्पिटल को या अपनी सर्विसेज को बेहतर बना सकते हैं। क्यू मैनेजमेंट अपन ने पहले देख ही लिया कि अलग अलग क्यूज होनी चाहिए, अलग अलग जनों की अलग अलग क्यू रहेगी, तो वैसे ही आधी प्रॉब्लम अपनी सॉल्व हो जाएगी। All hospital equipment should be in working conditions and repeated mock drills should be done for all the equipments. इसके अंदर अपने को देखना है कि कभी भी यदि कोई अपने को मॉक ड्रिल्स करते रहेंगे तो पता रहेगा कि कोई हॉस्पिटल का इक्विपमेंट खराब है या नहीं है। और उनको कई बार होता है कि कोई इंस्ट्रूमेंट बहुत दिन से काम नहीं आया, तो यदि मॉक ड्रिल्स अपन करते रहेंगे तो वो हॉस्पिटल के इक्विपमेंट्स अपने पास पता रहेगा। इमरजेंसी मेडिसिन का भी यही हाल है कि उनकी ट्रेस अपने को हमेशा देखते रहना चाहिए। एक बात और इसमें है कि यदि हमारे पास कहीं भी होता है कि कोई इमरजेंसी सिचुएशन अपन डील कर रहे हैं और कोई इक्विपमेंट चला नहीं, तो अपनी आदत होती है कि अपन स्टाफ के ऊपर एकदम से शाउट कर जाते हैं कि अरे ये चल क्यों नहीं रहा। तो इस चीज में मैं कहूंगी कि अपने को थोड़ा सा पेशेंस रहना चाहिए। और यदि अपने को कोई चीज बतानी भी है अपने स्टाफ को कि हाँ भाई ये इंजेक्शन चाहिए, ये खत्म हो गया है, इसकी जगह ये दे दो, तो अपनी कोड लैंग्वेज यूज करनी चाहिए। पेशेंट या पेशेंट के अटेंडेंट किसी को भी इस चीज का पता नहीं लगना चाहिए कि हमारे पास ये मेडिसिन खत्म हो गई है या हमारा ये इक्विपमेंट काम नहीं कर रहा है। तो ये वाला बहुत गलत इम्पैक्ट जाता है। एक ये है कि अपना जो मेन एंट्रेंस होती है या जो भी काउंटर है उसके बाहर ही मेडिकल प्रोटेक्शन लॉ जो भी है वो उसको डिस्प्लेड अच्छे अच्छे बोल्ड अक्षरों में लिखा होना चाहिए, ताकि उनको पता रहे कि हम यदि ये कुछ गड़बड़ करेंगे तो ये लॉज हैं जो हमारे ऊपर लग सकते हैं। अब आपने को ये देखना है कि यदि बाई चांस कोई क्राइसिस आ भी गई, यदि अपना कुछ मॉब आ गया या कोई और क्राइसिस आ गई, तो अपन क्या कर सकते हैं। तो इसके अंदर सबसे फोरमोस्ट चीज है कीप काम एंड पेशेंट। यदि हम बिल्कुल कामली पेशेंटली उनकी बात सुनेंगे तो अपन उस प्रॉब्लम का सॉल्यूशन निकाल भी लेंगे। हमें हमेशा अपने साथ वालों के साथ इस चीज के लिए बात करनी चाहिए। हमें कभी भी डू नॉट फील प्रेशराइज्ड बाय एनीवन। एक कोई आया, उसने किसी को प्रेशर डलवाया, तो कोई बात नहीं, लिसन केयरफुली टू इट। हम लोग को तो बहुत ज्यादा ये चीज फेस करनी पड़ती है जब गवर्नमेंट हॉस्पिटल में काम करते हैं, तो आए दिन किसी की ना किसी के फोन प्रेशर्स और ये सब आते रहते हैं, तो हमें उस चीज को सुनना भी पड़ेगा। सुनेंगे लेकिन अपने हिसाब से ही काम करेंगे। अभी यदि हमारे ऊपर उसी में इफ थ्रेट टू लाइफ आ गया तो डायल 100 और वी शुड हैव पैनिक बटन इन आवर मोबाइल फोन्स। तो कोई भी ऐसी सिचुएशन आती है तो उसके लिए हमें पैनिक बटन लेके और अपने हॉस्पिटल की हेल्प लेनी चाहिए। यदि कोई अपन ने पेशेंट शिफ्ट किया या कोई डेथ हो गई तो इस चीज में हमें उसको अकेला नहीं छोड़ना है, कभी भी उसको अकम्पनी करें, डेड बॉडी को भी अकम्पनी करें जब तक वो सेटल डाउन ना हो जाए। यदि हमने पेशेंट रेफर किया है तो उसको भी अकम्पनी करें। मतलब मेरा ये है कि अपन नहीं, जो भी है अपना स्टाफ है या कुछ भी है, अकेले ना छोड़ें उन्हें जब तक कि वो सेटल डाउन ना हो जाए। यदि बाई चांस अपने से कोई नेग्लिजेंस हो भी गई है, अपन मेडिकल वाले हैं, सर्जरी केसेस करते हैं, कॉम्प्लिकेशंस एंड पार्ट एंड पार्शल ऑफ आवर सर्जरी, तो स्टे फर्म इन केस ऑफ एनी नेग्लिजेंस। हमारे पास हमें हमेशा कंसेंट रहती है, इसलिए इस चीज के लिए कंसेंट रहती सकती है, और हम जैसे अपन पहले बात कर चुके हैं, हर चीज के अपने को प्रोज और कॉन्स बता के रखना चाहिए पेशेंट को। तो यदि कोई नेग्लिजेंस हो भी गई है तो हमें उस चीज पे फर्म रहना है, पेशेंट को उस चीज के लिए हमें समझा देना चाहिए। और मैं ये मानती हूँ कि अपन यदि किसी चीज के लिए पेशेंट को पहले पूरा बता के रखते हैं और सारा करते हैं, तो ये चीज यदि हम फर्म है तो कॉन्फिडेंट है और फर्म है, तो कहीं कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं आनी चाहिए। इन केस ऑफ नीड, इन कॉन्टैक्ट विद एक्सपीरियंस डॉक्टर्स, इस चीज में हमें कभी भी हेजिटेट नहीं करना चाहिए। कोई भी हमसे कुछ भी कोई नीड चाहिए, किसी भी चीज में हम अटक रहे हैं, अटक भी नहीं रहे हैं, बाई चांस कोई कंफ्यूजन ही है किसी चीज का भी, तो हमें हमारे एक्सपीरियंस डॉक्टर्स से हेल्प लेने में किसी भी तरह की कंफ्यूजन नहीं होना चाहिए। यदि हम हो भी गया है, हमारे ऊपर कोई केस भी हो गया है, तो भी हमें हमारे एक्सपीरियंस डॉक्टर्स से उस बारे में पूछना चाहिए और हमेशा उनसे राय लेनी चाहिए। हमें यदि कोई फंस गया केस, तो हमें प्रॉपर जुडिशियल गाइडेंस लेनी चाहिए, क्योंकि इसके लिए कोई भी लॉयर होगा वो हमें प्रॉपर जुडिशियल गाइडेंस देगा। उससे बड़ी बात है कि हमें अपनी फैमिली में बॉन्डिंग रखनी चाहिए। फैमिली में यदि बॉन्डिंग होगी, हम उनके साथ अच्छी तरह से बात करेंगे, तो कभी भी इस तरह के प्रेशर्स में नहीं आएंगे। सो वी शुड हैव अ proper bonding with our family, with our medical fraternity, with our friends, with our local public, with our padosis. Thank you very much all. Unity is our strength. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Madhu. You have so nicely and so simply elucidated everything. When to anticipate, how to avoid, and then finally how to manage the crisis if it unfortunately does arise. Yeah, and the final word was the icing on the cake. Unity is our strength. We all need to be together in this so that we don't have to see any bad days in the future. Okay, so now I think we have had a very nice talk, and which has really given us a little more of reassurance, and we know our legal rights and how to manage if any problem arises. But we are running a little short of time. So Dr. Anjali, if you want to take a few, ask a few quick questions to the panelists, and then I think we can wind it up. Dr. Mohita, is that right? I think we're already, it's 38:40, so probably.
We have time for one question. We conclude.
Yes, I think we have time.
Okay.
So panelists want to
open one very practical question to the panelists. Who are your go-to people, your little network of support when you have a crisis? Can you give some that who are the sort of people you turn to? Is it the other colleagues in your hospital? Is it just your examples so that other practitioners can get some ideas how to build their own network? Any panelists, please, just any examples.
We have a group in our hospital. Whenever we face such violent patient attendant or something, then we call everybody. We do a announcement on our public address system so that everybody assembles there. So that's how momentarily we manage. And after that, it is managed by contacting, as Dr. Madhu Gupta said, we keep contacting local police station, then lawyer, and our neighbors. That's how we manage. And it really helps if you have an emergency team in your hospital. The instructions are given to them whenever such public address system announcement is done. You have to be there near the reception or wherever the activity is being
So what are
done.
you saying? A code blue, a code red?
Yes, it's a code purple.
We have a code purple in place. And
Yes.
that's very nice. And what about private practitioners who are standalone? Would any of our panelists who are private practitioners tell us what they do?
I would just like to make a comment here that what we normally do, I'm a single surgeon in my hospital. So obviously, we do not have too much of support coming in. So the first kind of support is the staff. Because if anything, if any patient is not understanding or is very agitated or, threatens to file a case or threatens to destroy anything, then this is the staff that goes out and kind of calms them. If it is not, then we have contacts with the local thana. So we have people in local thana also. So we do not do anything. We just call them up. So a couple of times it happens and we just call them up, and even if they send a small ASI of the thana, some of them really calm down and they can get threatened. Otherwise, the first and foremost, as Dr. Madhu said, we have to be very, very particular about being very calm, and the staff has to be well trained in dealing with such situations, because if they are the first point of contact and they're again the last point of contact, because they should not come and threaten the doctor immediately and on the face of it. So that is how you could save yourself from reacting.
Thank you so much.
Just a quick one. In a corporate hospital, of course, you have a hierarchy of management. So it's like the OPD head, the ground worker, or an MS or a deputy MS. So you kind of have to be a goodwill, and a repute in the hospital, wherein that usually everything is, like at peace, and you yourself have to be very strong. So if you have to deal with a patient, first of all, your own convincing, your counseling and everything, even I've had a lot of times where patients have been irate and they've ended up saying that, the doctor was very curt and very straight and very rude. But I guess that goes a longer way, sorting it out within ourselves, between the doctor and the patient, than, making things like, lesser speaking and, more action. Maybe it is better to speak, more and have less action. I feel that is what is important. And of course, inform the security and your MS and the next hierarchy to take care of it.
We thank all our three panelists who've given us inputs about what individuals can do immediately when faced with an emergency. And in the interest of time, we will now move towards concluding this. Today, a very, very important thing has been achieved. A foundation stone has been for this beautiful project, Archana. And I can't help thinking, it crossed my mind, Madhu ji apne itne dil se baat kar rahi thi. ऐसा लगा अगर ऐसा forum डॉक्टर अर्चना के लिए available होता, क्या अगर वो अपने कॉलेज ऐसे कर पाती, क्या उनका मन हल्का हो जाता और वो ये step ना लेती? Why are we only reliant on journalists and all to, tell our stories to the world? And so they're at a, bigger level. I leave, all of you with these, Dr. Mohita and others, that at the organizational level, I think two things are very important. First is highlighting to the public proactively that, how many years we put into the study. We are the only people who take calls at night. We are the only people who do night duties. Baki log to shifts mein kaam karte hain. They work at night. Doctors are the only people who work so much. And we are such a good lot of people. So we have to actively keep putting out our positive points before people so that they see our side of the story. And I think many more of us should get involved in all these, things which don't directly only deal with medicine, when they are sort of dharnas, when we have to lobby. And we have to think about how to encourage people to participate more. So like you have, credit points for CMEs and all that. Could there be credit points once or twice a year for giving a little time towards lobbying and all that? We can encourage our friends, because as you said, unity is strength. So with these words, I thank each and every person who has been here with Dr. Mohita and Wos and all of us to, lay this foundation stone in a way of Project Archana. And I hope that not only today, but you will be with us every step of the journey. And I hope that this is a small step which leads to something very beautiful and, creates an atmosphere where we just can focus on, doing our job, treating patients like we are experts in our field, and without any, mental harassment, we can just coolly, calmly, and really enjoy our profession. So thank you once again for being here, all of us. And I feel very happy and privileged to have been part of, this beautiful process. Dr. Mohita, would you like to have the last word?
Yeah, thank you, everybody. Thank you, Dr. Madhvi, as well as Dr. Anjali for conducting this program so beautifully. And I'm sure this is going to be a great beginning, and we would be able to make the requisite changes that we have planned. And this will be a continuous process now. It's just the beginning. And but once this comes, that change starts happening, we'll all be seeing the results of whatever we have started today. And the talks were excellent, and they gave us a lot of insights, both Dr. Apurva and Dr. Madhu Gupta. A lot of things which are at the back of the mind, but they came forwards now, and a lot of things which were which we did not know about the laws. And now we'll go step by step, and we'll keep meeting for this. So thank you all for attending this. And I can see so many states already involved, so it's definitely going to make a big mark. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you
for the wonderful evening.
bye
Yeah, thank you.
Bye.
bye
Bye-bye.